Alright, so this is retro review number 4, I think. And I'll be reviewing this orb. It's called The Orb. And it was produced in 1982 by the toy game company Parker Brothers, which now no longer exists as a company alone, since, well, Hasbro killed off that company back like in 2010, I think. So, yeah, it's been out. So it's not been a company that's been making games and puzzles and stuff for like about 10 years or so. But anyway, this is, as I said, the orb puzzle. The idea of this puzzle is to move these beads around that are on each orbit layer. And so you can also turn it like this. So along this way, there's 3 major stops that you can do. You can do the full 180-degree turn, or you can do a turn like this, where there's one long intersecting chamber for the beads to move around in, and then there's this way where there's 2 intersecting oval, not intersecting, but 2 oval, so 2 rings for the beads to rotate around, slide around. And in this position, it almost reminds me of like the stitching pattern of like a baseball or a tennis ball. So, and then when you have it like this configuration, where there's one entire loop channel for the beads to move around, it's not always the easiest to move all of them around. It's like, yeah, just trying like this is tricky, but what I found out is that if you were to like get a hold of several of them and then do it like this, no, and that is easier to actually get them moving around. No. And as far as the solution goes, it's not that super hard at all. From what I did to solve it, and I don't know if this is actually the same solution that is well known, the most popular one, is what I do is I orient the bead in a position where, okay, I got all the green and blue on the top and bottom, and then the yellows and red are in the middle. So there's that, and then all I now have to do is just 180-degree move, and then just swapping the beads around like this. As I said, this was produced in 1982 by Parker Brothers, and the inventors of this puzzle are, I don't remember their last names, but they're like 2 Christophers, and funny thing is that the same people, the same 2 Christophers that invented this puzzle also invented the Rubik's Clock puzzle, which is really surprising, because this came out in 1982, this came out in 1988, so like a 6-year difference. And this is produced by Parker Brothers, and this is produced by Matchbox under the Rubik's branding. So this is an official Rubik's brand product produced and sold under the Matchbox brand. And I got this from eBay like several years ago. And when I got it, during the very first turns of it, it was like, if you can hear, yeah, squeaky. And, it was like very squeaky when I got it, but it still is, as right now. And while moving around these beads, they actually move around really good. And I did actually, clean this a bit, and lube it, and so the beads would slide around a little bit more smoothly. No, yeah. And, yeah, overall, this puzzle is not a super rare puzzle, but more of a somewhat common puzzle. It's along the lines of, like, seeing, like, a 1980s Pyraminx, that's not even a Mephros one. Well, scratch that. It's more like of just seeing, if you would go onto eBay and look up vintage Rubik's Cube puzzles, 1980 puzzles and stuff, you would see, like, along the lines of the Orb, this puzzle, the Rubik's 3x3, the 4x4, the 2x2 Pocket Cube, the Pyraminx, the Megaminx, and a few other puzzles like 3x3 ball puzzles, and some octagonal barrel puzzles, and a few other here and there. But this is definitely more along the lines of one of those common ones. It's like, it's more common than you actually think. Since it's like produced by a major game company at the time, and it had a wide distribution. And although the more rarer versions of it out there are like the Japanese and the Russian version, and even like the new in box variant. And speaking of the box, this on the screen right now shows you what the box looks like, which, hey, is actually cool looking. It's along the lines of the original Rubik's 3x3 box similarity, though. And yeah, and this was one of the puzzles that came out like during the original introduction of the 3x3 craze in the 1980s, when IDEAL produced it and widely distributed it. So that, it was the result of the 3x3. And still, this is like, again, one of those puzzles that, like, I wouldn't say a must-have for collection, but it's a puzzle that I would highly recommend looking at. And you can get these like relatively cheap, like about maybe $20 to $30, or like $40, depending on the condition and the seller location. Though it all varies though. But still, this is a really fun puzzle. And it's not really that super hard though. I very first played with one of these, back in like, I think, 2015, I think it was. This was like around mid-November 2015. I was, at the mall with my friend, another cuber, who's a local cuber here, that I met on Facebook, and I'm still friends with him, but don't really keep in touch with him that much. But when we met together, I bought some of my puzzles to show him and play with, and he bought some of his, and this was one of the ones that he bought, and he said he found it at like a antique store, thrift shop, something like that. So yeah, this is like one of those puzzles that you might find there. And a year ago or so, I was at a flea market, and I saw one of these, And when I asked the vendor how much this was, she said $20. And I was like, okay. And I recently, right before I went to that vendor and saw this, I was at another vendor and I bought something, and so most of the money that I brought in, the cash that I brought into the flea market, I had spent on that other thing, and so I barely had any other cash for buying this, the one that I saw at the flea market. But really, I was like thinking, okay, do I want to spend $20 on this when I already have one? Or just skip it? And I was like, skip it because I didn't really have the money. And why even bother having two of them, though? And when I saw it, it was scrambled, though, and I was like thinking, you know what? I want to solve it. But I didn't want to stand around like 5 minutes or so trying to solve it. And yeah. So I just like did some partial solve, and so I left it there. Left it for someone else to buy. So yeah. You can basically pick these up like at a lot of secondhand marketplaces. So if you look around, it's easy to find. No. And it's a really good collector's item as well, though. But anyway, that's my review on this orb puzzle.